You're listening to Careers and Cocktails, career talk with a twist, hosted by expert recruiter Renee Frey. Let's get this party started.
Hey party people, welcome to Careers and Cocktails. Today we are making a sweet and tasty Amaretto sour, which is Michelle Johnson's favorite drink. She's sharing her wonderful shaker with us that is branded from Disney Cruise Lines, which I love because she's a Disney fanatic.
We love it.
So let's talk a little bit about Michelle and then we'll mix our cocktail up. Michelle has spent over 20 years in the financial services industry. Before joining Edward Jones, she owned her own CPA practice and worked in public accounting as a CFO for a large nonprofit. Michelle graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree from Miami University, double majoring in accounting and information systems. She holds the FINRA Series 7 and 66 security licenses. Smarty pants over here, and is insurance licensed to provide long-term care, life, and disability insurance. Michelle provides highly personalized service, working closely with you and your CPA, your attorney, and other trusted professionals. It's her mission to help determine the appropriate financial strategy for individuals and families. So welcome. I'm so glad to have you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
You bet. And we look like Christmas today. I'm wearing green and she's wearing red. So we are all about Christmas. Well, let's get into this cocktail. And you tell me, so Amaretto sour, why is this your favorite drink?
Basically because I have a big sweet tooth and I really enjoy this. It's very sweet. So if you don't like sweet drinks, this won't be yours. But I tend to like foo-foo drinks or something that I can't taste the alcohol in.
Sure.
And so this is why it's one of my favorites.
Awesome. So we have the ice in the shaker and we're actually going to pour the ice into our cups. And Michelle brought these cute bubble cups. They're adorable. We're going to put the ice into the cup and then we're going to eyeball the portions and throw it back in the shaker and voila. So we will start with Amaretto. And Amaretto is an almond liqueur. We are using Il Tramonto, a product of Italy. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. And we're just going to do a third in the cup. That looks like about a third. I prefer eyeballing rather than measuring. I screw everything up when I measure.
That's perfect.
Oh, that one has kind of a lot. So that one can be yours. And then we are using sweet and sour mix from Mr. and Mrs. T. And we are going to fill it up the 2/3 rest of it.
Perfect.
Fill both cups. Yum. It already smells good.
Right? That almond.
I know, right? And then we will throw it in the shaker. As I make a mess, as usual. And we will shake this up. And then we're going to pour it back out with the ice.
If you can get it.
Oh, yeah, it's tight, isn't it?
It is tight.
I always have to open stuff on the show, and it never goes as planned. One time, I did a champagne bottle, and I swear to God, it literally took 5 minutes.
Oh, no.
Okay, so.
Perfect. Thank you.
And then you have we'll throw in your fun straw.
Very nice.
Top it with the Marciano cherry.
Beautiful.
Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. And an orange. It looks delicious. All right. Pouring the other concoction into the shaker.
It kind of looks like we should be on a beach somewhere.
It does. In our bikinis.
Versus the snow that is coming on outside.
I know. Winter Wonderland already setting in. All right. Pouring the mixture with the ice in the cup. Top it with the cherry. Throw in my straw. Oh my gosh. All right. Cheers.
Cheers. What do you think?
That's delicious.
Isn't that nice? Very refreshing.
I was sharing that I hadn't had an amaretto sour in like probably 10 years. That is delicious. But it's not that sweet. Like it's sweet, but it's not overbearing sweet.
No, Mark has, this is a little bit, I think a little bit more on the amaretto than probably some of the hotels do, or the bars. But I like that combination. It's really refreshing.
Yeah, it's delicious. So Michelle, how did we meet?
So that's a really great story, actually. When I started my career with Edward Jones, one of the ways that they ask us to prospect is looking at going to home, and excuse me. And so I went up to your door and I knocked on your door. Had never met you before. Didn't really know anybody actually in your neighborhood.
I was there in the middle of the afternoon. Came flying out. Hey, how are you? Why are you here?
You did. And all of your excitement and your energy, and that's how we met originally. I know. And it's just been since there that we've kind of fed off each other's energy and really encouraged each other. Yeah,
absolutely. So Michelle comes to my house. And then I tell her, oh yeah, I just started a business. I have a fat 401k sitting at Target, but I don't want to keep it there because I just left Target. And she was the perfect person that showed up right when I needed her. But besides that, I will never forget, you were so interested in learning about what I was up to in my business. And she said, oh, we got to get you connected in town because I was working from home at the time. And so she invited me to all these different luncheons, meetings, charity events, everything. She just kind of took me under her wing. And that was fantastic. So I have to thank you for that because it does get kind of lonely when you're starting out, and I didn't have a team at the time and my partner had just quit. So thank you for that because that's exactly what I needed to feel that connection with others. After working at Target Corporation where there's thousands of people around you every day and then being isolated in your home by yourself. So you're the best, Michelle.
You're so sweet. Thank you.
Pretend I'm a kindergartner. What do you do for a living?
So I would say the way I would explain it is that I help people achieve their financial goals. That, as you know, I work with an exclusive group of people, and I decided to restrict it to working with 100 people. And that way we can really dig in with each one of them. And just like you experienced, I want to know what's important to you. I want to know, what those goals would be. Sometimes for some people it is retirement, but then again, it could be, education for the girls, or it could be, making sure that you've got estate planning. Or a lot of folks we're working with multi-generational, planning for. So, it's really a blessing to be able to work with just a really fantastic group of people and make them, be able to achieve their goals.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And when you were little, what did you want to be when you grew up, Michelle?
You're probably not going to be surprised to hear this, but I wanted to be president.
Oh, I didn't know that. Hey, there's still you could still achieve that.
Yeah, I don't know if I would do well in the political environment. Put it that way. I don't like when people are mean to each other, so that's probably not gonna work.
Right, that's funny. And tell me, what's the nerdiest thing you have on your bucket list?
I think the nerdiest thing is really getting some more letters behind my name. As you know, this year I got 4 more letters after my name. And I just have a really big need to constantly be learning. And that's why I love to read. And that's why I really decide, to expand what my credentials are.
Sure.
So, yeah, that's probably the nerdiest thing.
That's awesome. I love it. But I have to ask, are these tests, I hear they're extremely hard.
Yes, it takes, this last one, there was a rigorous study program. So we had to do studying for about 2 months and then, take this 4-hour test.
Wow.
For it. So,
in 2 months, you're studying how many hours a day?
probably 3 hours.
Wow.
And that's outside of we have like an online professor that we're, viewing.
Oh, it's like legit.
And that one's probably an easier one, honestly. I mean, my CPA was for months, and we had to meet in, gymnasium full of all these people that were studying. And then that would be 3 to 4 hours twice a week that we'd be studying, and then there was an online review course. And
wow,
yeah.
So is it FIFA? Am I saying that right?
FINRA.
FINRA. Is it pass fail? Are these tests pass fail? Or
so no, it's generally as long as you get a 70% and above.
Got it. Cool. And if you had a superpower, what would it be?
That's really a hard one. I think that I would want to clone myself, to be able to clone myself.
Me too. Can I?
Right?
I'm in the same bucket. I want 5 million Renees. I would be a billionaire.
Right? You'd be a billionaire. You'd be able to do everything with your kids. You'd have a great marriage. Everything would be top conditioned. But
right?
Yeah.
I love it. And what can we celebrate for you this week?
So this week, I am celebrating hitting another level with Endeavor Jones.
Congratulations.
So, thank you.
Cheers to that.
Thank you. We had our best month ever. So
wow. That's great.
Fun.
And how are you going to celebrate with your team?
So we've got tickets to go to the Guthrie to see A Christmas Carol for
fun.
my whole family and my assistant's whole family. So
awesome.
It'll be fun.
That'll be great.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me, do you have any, thinking of the job seekers that are listening, do you have any funny or horrifying stories relative to interviewing, whether it's you're the interviewee or you're the interviewer?
I do.
Okay.
I have a really crazy one. So Mark and I are high school sweethearts. So we got married straight after college, and he was in the Navy. And when we were moving back to what we thought we would stay in Ohio, which is where we're from, I came back first because Mark was on a 6-month med cruise for the Navy. And so I was interviewing with, several different companies. I, of course, was, tending to stay in the CPA lane. And I interviewed for this small, like, mom and pop organization. And I get in there, and literally you can barely see the people. There's so much smoke.
Oh my God. Like, what kind of smoke are we talking about?
So, like, cigarette smoke.
And what year is this?
This is like, gosh, when was it? Let's see, 98?
Wow.
No, maybe closer to 2000. But anyway, not since everything has been outlawed, but still, like, people were more courteous, and there's no reason that would be acceptable in a work situation. And so I get there, and I'm really sensitive to smoke anyway. And my eyes are like killing me and itching and burning. And I'm still trying to have this conversation, this interview. And I get ready to leave there, and they offered me the position, and I didn't know what to say. I'm like, okay. And then I go home, and I literally was sick like the whole evening, because I think, part of it was probably inhaling that much smoke.
Right.
But also was just because the fact that I felt like I had accepted this job, and it was clearly not what I wanted to do.
Oh, you told him yes?
Yes, I told him yes. And so the next morning I got up, after not sleeping at all and getting sick all night, and I, called them up and I said, I'm sorry, I cannot do this.
Yeah.
And of course, right around the corner was a really great job that I got within 2 days afterwards. But just in my mind, I had such a scarcity mindset that I felt like, this is what I'm going to have to accept.
Oh my gosh. And work in a puff of smoke. That is crazy.
It was insane. So
kudos to the company, though, for offering you the job on the spot.
They did.
I mean, that is, some companies do that nowadays because the competition is so fierce. Yeah. But
I felt like they had a live one, so they had to capture while I'm there.
That's funny. You have to say yes before you leave.
You can't leave.
That is so funny. So tell me, let's go deeper in your career journey. Tell me about your career journey.
Yeah, absolutely. So my dad was a CPA and did investing for the company he worked for. So all through high school, I would work there on the weekends. At that point, everything was paper. So I would, be looking at these old like journals and, replacing new tax laws with old tax laws and things like that. And did accounting for that company. And then out of college, like I said, Mark and I got married, so we moved to Virginia. And I worked for Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Oh, great training ground.
Yeah, it was. It was a really great place to train. I worked for their accounting division. So what they did that was unique was not only did we get experience within all the areas of accounting, but also we had to work in the rental department for at least a week every year. And that was amazing because, of course, I don't believe that you can really relate to, other areas of the company without knowing what those people are going through,
Absolutely.
on there. And then when we decided to move back to Ohio, that's when I worked for the regional CPA firm. So I did taxes and auditing for them. And then fast forward to after kids, I worked with, we were in Wisconsin at that point. We had moved to Wisconsin, and I worked for a nonprofit called Workforce Development, and worked my way up to being the CFO of that company. Yeah.
Close to president.
Yeah, there you
Almost
go.
president.
Close enough. So I really liked working for that company just because they did so many wonderful things. I mean, really getting dislocated workers re-educated and back into the workforce. I mean, it was fantastic. But when we moved here, then I decided to do everything on my own. So I did bookkeeping and tax prep for a lot of individuals and small businesses before, getting recruited with Edward Jones. And if I have any advice for, job seekers out there, really, finding my home and finding the job that is just absolutely perfect for my personality. I wish I would have done it so much earlier.
Really?
Yeah. Because I felt like I had all of this, degree and all of this education, but yet it wasn't the perfect match for my personality. And so I wish I would have, kind of expanded and been more open to it sooner.
So what was the pivotal moment when you said, yes, I want to be a financial rep?
That was when I was working tax season and I wasn't seeing my kids and I was not seeing my husband. And it was, because I'm such a person that gives 110%. Yeah. It was just impossible to balance everything. Sure. And so I decided at that point that I was going to close my business. And I actually had an advisor from another firm approach me and said, you know what, you have, I think this would be a really great career for you. And so he asked me to do this online personality profile to see if it would be a good match. And it was hilarious. So I saw him, that was on the weekend. And then on Monday, he's like running down the hall. And he's like, Michelle, you got a 96 on this. And I'm like, okay, what does that mean? Right. And compared to what? Yeah, right. Like, I don't know. And he said, no. He said, people that have been in the business for 10 years don't have a 96 on, this. Wow. And so he really was very encouraging on the fact that it was made for me. And he was totally right. I mean, it was just. Wow. So that's when I kind of expanded and talked to some different companies. So.
Well, cheers to that.
Yay!
It's never too late to find your dream job.
That's right.
So let's talk about mindset and money. Like what do you see? Because, I had a huge obstacle starting my business. I actually used to get a pit in my stomach, and I'm telling all here. I don't tell this to a lot of people. I used to get a pit in my stomach when I would send invoices out for the great work that we've done. And I've worked through that, but that's one thing that I had to overcome. What are some of the things that, you see that people need to overcome or change? Because we're all raised by our parents.
Sure.
And we kind of absorb their money mindset. And my childhood My dad we had money at one point, then we had nothing at one point. I started working at 14. So I've seen both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. So my mom is an extreme driver. She, has her own business, as you know, real estate business, and hugely successful. But again, it was later in life. So she didn't pursue that until after my sister and I were in college. And so that really, opened me up to seeing, what you can accomplish by yourself. But when I look at, especially in the field that I'm in, a lot of times people will not enter the field because of the fact that they're worried about all of the competition. And honestly, I feel like that's a scarcity mindset, because there's really an unlimited supply of people that need help. I mean, just like you were saying, I mean, there's people standing in their house praying for somebody to come to them and help them with what they want to achieve. And I think that for me, I've never had a ceiling. Like, I don't feel like, okay, I can only earn this much, or I only can have this much. But sometimes I do get the doubts in my head and say, is it going to come? Is this going to continue to grow as fast as we've seen in our office? But again, I think it goes back to that scarcity mindset, knowing that there's enough out there for all of us.
Absolutely. Well, it's just like recruiting firms. They're a dime a dozen. I should probably get the data on how many recruiting firms are in the nation.
Wow, I bet
there's huge. Hundreds of thousands, probably 1 million of them. And yet there's still enough business for Talent Q.
Absolutely. More than enough.
Exactly. So with you, and you seemed from your values of how you were raised that there wasn't limits. How did your parents communicate with you? Because like me, with when we had a lot, they didn't really talk about money or how to earn it. And then when we had nothing, oh my goodness, it was like, you need to get a job and pay for your own clothes now at age 14. And I thought, well, I still have to fit in and wear Guess jeans. So I'm getting a job. So how I've seen, and my mom still, though, to this, that poverty mindset of the scarcity mentality. And once you break free from that, everything starts showing up. But I'm curious how you were raised to know it was unlimited.
Yeah, I think that a lot of that was just my mom, telling my sister and I that we could do anything. Yeah. And I think that for her, because she didn't have the ability to go to college when she was younger, she did end up going back, obviously, to get her broker's license, that she felt like it was very important to kind of instill that into my sister and I. And, even more so, that to know that we don't have to be dependent on anyone else, that we can do it ourselves.
Absolutely. And I love earning money. It's just, I love helping people, and the money just comes, right? So when, we're passionate about the things we do and to live the life we've dreamed of, and I'm with you, I'm living my dream in the work that we do here at Talent Q, which is so incredible. And people put so many limitations on themselves, and I can't even imagine what it would be like to not earn your own money and be dependent on yourself,
Right. No, and honestly, we've seen that with a lot of clients too, where somebody's gone through a divorce or somebody has been widowed, and that's one thing that's really that we're passionate about is we have our coffee once a month where we meet and educate women just for about 20 minutes at a time, and then have some great conversations around that. And that's been huge because so many people don't have that education, just like we all have our own gifts, I wouldn't pretend to know how to, recruit somebody.
And I don't pretend to know how to invest at all.
So I think it's great that we're able to share each other's gifts, and, be able to really encourage and empower people to be able to make these decisions.
Absolutely. And it's never too late, right, to take charge of your own financial health.
Right. Absolutely.
So, Michelle, what's your biggest failure and how did you overcome it?
I would say that my biggest failure was when I first started, really accepting, I wanted to help everybody. So I felt that even if I had to work 80 hours a week, or even if I had to work, every single day of the week, that I wanted to help everybody. And I think that, getting to the point where we are now and knowing that, working with a specific group of people and really doing it well,
right,
versus working with hundreds of people and just kind of having that cursory relationship. That's probably my biggest failure was, not realizing that sooner.
Right. I did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to help everybody
right?
when we start. Yeah. People were like, oh, what do you specialize in? There's no specialization here at Talent Q. And then later on, I'm like, it's like beating me over the head. Ding, ding, ding. You can help more people if you're in one lane.
Right. And you know more about it. I mean, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. So going back to money, I have to share.
Mm-hmm.
So I was at a David Nagel event in person. Art of Success Summit was phenomenal. And he was talking about his previous coach that challenged him. One of the major breakthroughs I had was I am not good at receiving. I'm not good at receiving gifts. I'm not good at receiving money. And that was one of my blockages. And we won't get into how my parents screwed me up. But he challenged people to go up weekly and ask a complete stranger, what would it take for you to give me $20 and feel good about doing it? So I'm always up for a challenge. And I thought, if this is going to help break me through this, I'm going to do it. So I was traveling with my friend Lynn, who huge growth mindset gal as well. And we're wrapping up dinner. And I said, all right, I'm going to do it. And I literally, the second I said I was going to do it, I felt my body. I haven't felt like this probably since the day I got married. My whole core was fluttering, full of butterflies and nervousness like I've never felt in a long, long time. And I said, okay, I'm going to go ask this guy. And he's sitting down at this table, and I go over there and I ask him, what would it take for you to give me $20 and feel good about doing so? And he looks at me and he's like, excuse me? And I said it again. What would it take for you to give me $20 and feel good about doing it? And he said, what are you going to use it for? And I said, I just need to receive it. And he said, no. And I said, can you share why you're, and he looks at me and says, you don't look like you need it. And so then Lynn came over and we were talking to him. We're like, yeah, we're at the summit and they challenge, blah, blah, blah. So then I go over to a group of people that are attending the event as well. And I am still like, my whole core is fluttering, like freaking out. And I'm trying to have conversations with people that I barely know, right? And the gal challenges me, the one to my left challenges me, and she says, you have to do it again right now. Ask somebody again right now to break through this. And so I asked the person directly across from me, and she hands me the money and she says, I want you to have it. And I was just like, oh my gosh. I was just, it was crazy. But that sort of transaction and thought process of getting out of your routine, really challenging you. I mean, and at his event, there's so many lies we've been taught our whole life. It's just incredible. Like one that comes to mind is clean your plate, or you have to work. You have to work hard to be more successful. You have to work hard to make more money. That's total bullshit. It's a bunch of lies. But anyway, I had to share that with you because
it's powerful.
That was crazy. And then I sat and thought about what is the value or what is the meaning of money to me? And it's an exchange of energy, and it's a tool for you to help people and enrich your life. And there's so much you can do with it. So I just needed to.
No, I appreciate that. I know it's interesting because some people put that label of money being either good or bad.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, really curious because it's paper, right?
Right. It's nothing. Nothing is good or bad. It just is.
Yeah.
It's $1.
Well,
it is paper.
Right. And I had a client that came back from China, and they don't use paper anymore. Everything is transactions on their phone. So, I mean, literally no paper.
Really?
Yeah. So it was really kind of interesting to hear how, that works. I mean, granted, there's probably some of it, they want to monitor the money flow more carefully. But I thought it was interesting to see if we go towards that, if we go towards the, using all electronic transactions, will there still be that sense of, money being the root of all evil? Or
yeah, there's a lie we've been
right?
told. Yes, which is such a lie.
Right.
You're right, though. And it's funny. I had a friend who did the Dave Ramsey program and got out of debt. I think she paid her MBA off in like 2 years, which
wow,
with
impressive.
cash. And all they teach you in that, all you carry is cash.
Yes.
Because the touch and feel. So it'll be interesting to see.
Well, and they say that you spend 20% more when you use digital transactions versus
Fascinating.
cash. Mark and I did the Dave Ramsey program.
Oh, you did?
Years ago.
Yeah,
yes.
cool.
And I was one of the CPAs that has a referral from him. So if somebody needed a CPA in the area, he would refer him to me. So I'm very familiar with the program, and I think it works fantastic. I mean, it's interesting to see, but of course people have to do it, right?
Absolutely.
They have to do the work.
Absolutely. And I'm sure it's tough because I think a lot of people have so much emotion tied in that piece of paper,
right?
Which there shouldn't be any emotion. Like I get emotions when I'm on my vacation spending and I'm happy.
That's right.
And I want more of it.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
So Michelle, what's the best advice you've ever received?
I think the best advice I ever received was that you have to let go of some of the good in order to receive some of the great.
Absolutely.
And that helped me a lot. I mean, especially as a mom, and having my business as well, is being able to know that I can say no.
Absolutely.
Because so many people, you have it inside you that you can't say no, but as soon as you do say no, somebody figures something else out. It's not like, if you're asked to work for this committee or do this at church, it's not that they won't find somebody else, but then when you do say yes, I mean, being able to put all of your energy and your excitement into that, it's just so much better.
Absolutely. I love it. Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely.
I'm so grateful for you.
You too.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And for all of you listeners, if you have liked this episode, please like, subscribe, and click the bell. Share it with everyone you know. Follow us on careersandcocktails.com. For all of you hiring leaders who want the secrets of finding the best talent, you can download your free guide there. And for all of you job seekers who want to love your Mondays, you can go to the same website, careersandcocktails.com, to find out where to purchase my book, I Hate Mondays, to get you the job you love.
You have to do it. She's amazing. She's the best in the business.
Thank
for sure.
you. Oh, where can we find you, Michelle?
Absolutely. It's edwardjones.com. You can search for Hudson. I'm in North Hudson. Or I am on LinkedIn and Facebook, my personal site as well.
Perfect. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.